And this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, if you let Pachuriko pick more than one map, because he's going to go and do this. He's going to go ahead and pick Painted Desert, which is not exactly a ditch, but it's another map that definitely plays to Pachuriko's strengths. Lots of very open, spread out mexes, big map. You can barely tell what's going on because it's so bright, and it really just favors high APM and good unit management, which is definitely Pachuriko's advantage. And there's some banter here between these players. And this is game 3, and it's 2-0 at this point. So Pachuriko can finish off the series and defend his title with a win, or Zock can bring this back to 2-1 and force us into game 4 with a win. So anything can happen, we'll see. This is a bit strange. Some misplacement from Zock straight away. So not ideal there. Pachuriko also going to go for the Hydra, but in a more conservative style, getting 3 pigeons beforehand. I assume he knows what he's doing on this map, as I've seen him play this before. It's quite similar to the ditch in the way you have to control so many different fronts. And there's also quite a lot of reclaim, but of course it's not nearly as ridiculous as the ditch in that regard. So knock it up to +1 while we can. That was a mistake in the last game, as we ended up experiencing lots of lag, but I do not care. I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I'm a real badass. Anyway, just lots of air planned for Zock and some land. See, same thing for Pachuriko, so this must be a good thing to do. I'm going to get a drink. And just some early expansion from Pachuriko, mechs and then rocks. And same thing going on the bottom. There's really very little to fear in terms of raiding. The distance between the bases is so big that raiding really isn't that effective, because the distance obviously is very long, and so it's difficult to traverse. And despite what the appearance of these mountains, they're actually very climbable. You can go directly over them. So they're not obstacles as they might appear. Some of them are, like this one, you can't go over that, but the big flat ones you can go over. So I'm sure we'll see that. Bomber from Pachuriko. 2 bombers, just as he did on the ditch. He's going to send them out into various locations and try to deny expansion from Zock. And in this case, denying expansion is even more devastating, as the mexes are so spread out and there's not enough reclaim at home to save somebody who doesn't have the mexes up. Zock really with a nice build order, using the rocks. See if he is doing well. He is really relying on the rocks though, 'cause he's building quite a lot of stuff. So there is quite a bit of mass here. I didn't realize the rocks were quite so valuable, but they are. Evidently so. Maybe I'm talking shit, but I don't think this is a ditch situation. Pachuriko on about 3,000, so there is a lot of reclaim to be had. Just as in the previous game, the bombers fly right past each other. 2 bombers from both players, and a transport from Zock. So he will be able to use that to maneuver his way around the expansions. Transport now for Pachuriko, so same thing. Here you can see the units just making their way across the middle. Easy as you like, right across the plateau. This is going to be kind of annoying. Pachuriko trying to establish some land factories in the middle. It's vital that you don't lose a battle in the middle, because there's a lot of mex points to be had and lots of reclaim around the base of this gigantic mountain, so it's important to hold on. And looks like Pachuriko will fly his transport right past the scout, or not, because it's going to move, so that's a bit of luck there going in Pachuriko's direction. And Zock really going for a crazy land spam here. Lots and lots of land factories, not nearly as many from Pachuriko, going for a more eco-based approach. And again, it's not that big of a deal, because it takes so long from units on Zock's side to get to this side that Pachuriko will easily have time to compensate if he needs to. And there's the transport in action, dropping engineers in various locations so that they can start to establish map control. Oh, this one is targeted by Zock. And the bombs didn't actually go off. That was kind of weird. But what can you say about that? That was luck again in Pachuriko's favor. Zock also using transports. Transports are actually very vital because the distance is so large. You do need to fly your units around the map in order to get them to their destinations with any kind of speed. 2 transports out now for Zock. He's going to have a lot of mobility. I'm sure we'll be seeing multiple transports from Pachuriko as well. And that's kind of annoying. A loss there, but a factory is already in position. So we'll see how this evolves because we're just now entering into the point where the players can actually fight each other. It's really been eco since the beginning. And looks like it's going to be an early upgrade here from Zock. Or not an early upgrade, but he's already putting storage around before he goes for Tech 2 mexes. So that's a bit backwards from him. Usually you don't see it in that order, and he's just stalling, just as he did on the ditch. He's got reclaim available, but this is what I was talking about. These aren't exactly ditch rocks, so stalling ridiculously hard. Pachuriko also on the verge of stalling ridiculously hard, so neither player is able to completely use the reclaim to power their economies, but they're still using quite a bit of it, of course. So I can see how this would add up to a lot of reclaim, but I don't know how they got so much so soon as they did earlier. Maybe there's some special rock groups in the bases. Not 100% sure on that one. And Tech 2 land not coming up from Zock, minute 8. There is going to be the same thing. Yep, Tech 2 land coming up for Pachuriko, minute 8 as well. Just look at this mess of units. This is why a player like Pachuriko has a big advantage, because there's so many different fights going on at the same time, and somebody like him who's so good at managing different fronts has a huge advantage here. Of course, Zock is no mug himself. See, using the multiple drop commands very well here, minimizing the amount of attention he has to spend on that. Tech 2 air from Pachuriko as well. Slow it down so we can get away from the replay a little bit and not have this annoying lag again. And Pachuriko will kill off some innocent engineers. And it's really hard to make calls on this map so early, as neither player is really settled. Both are still developing their expansions, both still just trying to get map control up. This is a bit annoying for Pachuriko. He's going to lose a factory. So it's going to be some reclaim denied. And Pachuriko with way more mass income. Wonder if he's been teching his mechs. He's got Tech 2 mechs. See, I can't even tell what's going on. Everything looks the same color to me. It's so bright as opposed to how dark the ditch was. So we've literally shifted. It's like night and day, the difference. There goes the factory from Pachuriko. Zock just continues to push in. And he's pushing directly through the middle. Pachuriko will have a lot to deal with here if he wants to defend against this attack. So many factories up for Zock. 27 Tech 1 factories. He's really going insane with this spam here. Now he's starting to use all of these. And of course, no shortage of factories from Pachuriko. I think it's a matter of time before we start seeing Tech 2 power and then a big Tech 2 air push from one of these players. It's Tech 2 power from Zock. And Zock just continuing to make this ridiculous spam of factories. He's going to go into Pachuriko's side with his factory spam. Pachuriko also making a similar number of Tech 1 factories, although not quite as ridiculous. And this push will be difficult to deal with, because there aren't that many units in support. They are here, but they're kind of disorganized here as well. So Zock will have some success here, in fact. pushing into Pachuriko's territory, and he's going to be able to control his side very nicely as well. I really hope that if this goes to a 4th game, we don't have another map like this, because this is too much to keep track of. Zock now pulling ahead in power. Pachuriko also going for big power spam. But Zock is definitely having the better of the raids here. He didn't really stop there. He wants to continue to push. Can't really blame him. You can see he's definitely starting to pull ahead in economy and in map control as well. He's carrying out more successful raids than Pachuriko, and also securing more mexes than Pachuriko. Of course, that's not to say it's not even. I mean, both players are still raiding each other quite nicely, but Zock does definitely have the advantage in that category. And somehow the power returned to somewhat of a balanced state, even though it looked like Zock was pulling ahead to a higher degree. He is now working on his 3rd PG, and it's almost done. Pachuriko just with the 1, but evidently more Tech 1 power. And T2 Max is being upgraded all over the place for Zock, trying to keep the advantage. If some of these factors were to go to Tech 2, that'd be quite a lot of firepower that Zock could produce right in the middle of the map. He is starting to win the middle, clearly capturing the mexes here before Pachuriko can, and piling units up on the top. Zock really starting to build a lot of Tech 2 power. I think Ras is even a possibility now. He's got that in his locker. Problem with that is that mass is a limiting power, a limiting factor. But of course, he can still make Ras if he chooses. But for now, looks like he's content with making more Tech 2 P-gens. See what Pachuriko's plan is with that. Still just making his 3rd T2 P-gen. Zock already working on his 5th. And a push into the corner here from Pachuriko, just causing a bit of chaos, but Zock responds in kind. So with the sides being so even, it's really going to be an important fight for the middle, as whoever wins that will have more map control, more mexes, possibly more economy. And you can see Tech 2 land now in the middle for Pachuriko, wants to take the advantage there. No Tech 2 land so far for Zock in the middle. Could be a big mistake. He's got his Tech 2 land somewhere back here, right here, going Tech 3 in fact, and not stopping with his Tech 2 power spam. He wants to spam even more of that. Not sure why. He's already wasting quite a bit of power. It might be a good idea to stop that now and get Ras if he really wants to continue with his power spam. T2 Pigeons are quite expensive. And now Pachuriko upgrading his resource allocation, not wasting time at all. After he gets this 4th T2 Pigeon, I'm sure he'll go completely for the Ras upgrade. Just such an intense fight here in the middle. Zock looks like he's in a better position to control the middle. Gunships as well from him. The open palm seems like forever ago already, where Zock was so effective with his gunships, but he ended up losing that match thanks to the Tech 2 push from Pachuriko. It wasn't great for him. He's actually working on a Tech 3 max here. Zock is. So it's going to be a big mass drain to try and work on both projects at the same time, but he does finish his Tech 2 power, so he will get this. Might as well reclaim that 1 Pigeon and finish off capping the max. Pachuriko now sneaks around the side. And these matches just aren't always the most castable because it gets kind of repetitive. Lots of action throughout the map, and then it takes a while for the main fight to really get cooking. And look at how similar the economies are between these players. It's absolutely ridiculous how with all of this stuff going on, they still have basically the same stuff. Zock working on resource allocation himself. He does not have the notify thing, so I'll have to watch him myself. And he can really start reclaiming his Tech 1 power now if he's planning to get Ras. No need to keep that around. He needs mass anyways. He has the Tech 2 upgrade, so it costs quite a bit to get RAS. Pachuriko will have his resource allocation soon, so Tech 3 air 100% possible from Pachuriko. And he is starting to push really hard in the middle, Pachuriko is. The Rhinos seem to have made the difference. And Zock losing lots of ground here. Pachuriko pushing on all fronts now. Just units everywhere killing mexes. His RAS is finished. Zock still working on his RAS, so Pachuriko is ahead of him. And here comes Tech 3 Air. The factory is being constructed. And the Tech 3 max for Pachuriko is also going up. So now, of course, the question becomes which one of these players can make the best use of Tech 3 Air. Zock really needs to build the last mass storage here. It's an eyesore to see that go uncapped. And more accidental radar spamming, so it's the sign of somebody who's playing too quickly. Pachuriko still interested in pushing hard. Zock trying to get his Tech 2 factories up now, but it's too late. Pachuriko also making a Tech 1 PD creep here, so these factories are all going to go down. And suddenly, Zock is really being pushed back into his own little section of the map. A rather large section, admittedly, but it is still restricting him. And Pachuriko just waiting around. He's got the capability to make Tech 3 Air. Here comes a scout from him. And Tech 3 Air is being constructed by Zock now. Does he have the mass? He absolutely does not. He must be upgrading a Tech 3 mech somewhere. He's actually not doing that. Not sure what's taking up so much mass. It's probably not the air factory upgrade. Usually not that expensive. And I haven't actually checked the reclaim. 81,000 for Pachuriko, 71,000 for Zock, so a bit of an advantage there. That's only going to increase once all this stuff gets reclaimed from Pachuriko. The Tech 1 PD creep continues, securing more ground. It just looks like Pachuriko is still grabbing everything. It's like an inevitable creep on these sorts of big open maps. Pachuriko just eventually starts to take control. Tech 3 land almost up for Zock. That's what was taking up all his mass. He really does need to start getting rid of his Tech 1 power. He doesn't really need it. It's just mass that's sitting there. So much stuff here. This video must be very long by now, but I don't care. It's too much work to upload multiple videos. And it's just this continuous push. Pachuriko has more economy yet again. Zock needs to start pushing back. Maybe with Tech 3 land he can make a big push. But here come gunships again from Pachuriko. This is a move that he seems to like. And down go the engineers. They're going to start falling if they're actually targeted. What is being targeted here? Yep, the rocket's now hitting the engineers. Just absolutely murderous. They didn't get to live for very long, but you saw the potential there. Just continuous harassment from Pachuriko on all sides. The last match was really just an inevitable grind towards a Pachuriko victory. And I'm wondering if this one will take the same course. There aren't that many differences between this map and the ditch. Obviously the big one is the reclaim, but in terms of gameplay, it's really not too far away. I slowed it down there to catch up, or to avoid catching up, I should say, with the actual replay. And now absolute control of the middle for Pachuriko. Really undisputed now. He can take the mexes at will. He can reclaim at will. He's got almost 100,000 reclaims. Zock under 80,000. Pachuriko's economy doesn't look like it's slowing down. He's got 195 mass to 110. It's just nasty stuff for Zock to deal with, and he had the advantage for so long there, it seemed. And then in the middle, Pachuriko just went for one Tech 2 factory and it completely changed everything. Zock apparently just didn't feel like going for Tech 3 or for Tech 2 land himself, and Pachuriko just ran him over. What the fuck is going on here? If someone can explain to me what the hell's going on with these engineers in this factory, that'd be very nice. Honestly, what the hell? I don't really care, that's not exactly game breaking, but it is weird. And you can see Tech 2 mechs is falling in the corners here for Zock. He's really under assault from all sides. And I said it was going to come down to an exciting Tech 3 air battle, but it doesn't look like it's going to even come down to that, because Pachuriko is producing such a ridiculous push. Just look at the control he has over his side. I mean, it's like a web. It's so difficult for Zock to push in. Pachuriko just continues to push in here, and we've got lots of Tech 3 production for Zock, but just producing, well, he is producing loyalists, producing some Tech 2 as well. And once again, I'm thinking Zock has to go for a snipe, and right now he can't afford to lose this match. And if he does lose, the series is over anyway. So he might as well just go for it. I mean, he's really on the back foot here, so... I mean, the problem is, even if you were to try and go for a snipe, Pachuriko would see it because he has such good control over the map. There's really no side of the map here that's not covered by either radar or visual for Pachuriko. So it would be nearly impossible to sneak a snipe through. So it's just gonna have to be brute force, and at the moment Pachuriko is definitely winning in that sense through brute force. And Zock really doesn't have an answer. But to be honest, it might have been expected that Pachuriko would pick these maps, so Zock really did have to win the open palms in order to give himself a chance. That would have allowed him to lose these games and still be in the series. But at this point, he can't afford to lose this match. And what? This is so weird. Oh, it just looked weird to me, but so many weird display things going on in this game. And this is still going on. I would really like to know what's happening. Looks like something is happening here. They've reached its maximum bar, but I would really like to know if somebody can explain to me what the fuck is going on with this factory. Looks like Pachuriko will just kill it off with normal means. 2 Tech 3 air factories from Pachuriko with the potential for more. So there will be no coming back in air for Zock. Looks like it will be an Omni. So at least Zock will have complete radar coverage of at least half the map. See how much it extends out. So he won't be surprised anymore. But all he's going to see with his Omni is thousands of hordes of millions of billions of units just pouring down into his base from all angles. It does help to take out some of the surprise though. Pachuriko, still no Omni, but he can easily make one whenever he feels like it. And with his control over the middle, he could make a middle Omni, which would be devastating. Let's actually see how much that would cover. We've got an engineer here. So if I put an Omni here, it would actually cover the entire map. Except for the corners, which are irrelevant anyway. So Pachuriko can do that. Just so difficult to play against this kind of force. 17,000 power for Pachuriko. Soon to be 19,000. I'm just making Tech 2 gunships at the moment actually. I guess he's satisfied that he has air control. So at 40 ASF. Zock is just 24, so he does indeed have map control. Did not mean to do that. And Zock really in big trouble once again. This time he doesn't have nearly as much power as he would need if he wanted to do a telesnipe, so if there is going to be a snipe, it'll have to be strat bombers. Pachuriko would easily spot those, of course. These raids from Zock are becoming less and less effective as the game goes on. Reclaim now. Pachuriko at 126,000. Zock at 98,000. So big gap there. These reclaim numbers are actually very important because they tell you who has been able to win more fights, who has been able to control more of the map, and that usually translates into more economy. Unless, of course, it's somebody feeding somebody else a lot of reclaim, in which case it can be misleading, but for the most part it is a good indication of how the economies are. At least in an evenly matched game, of course. As are these games. So lots of air coming up for Zock. Wants to get air control. It's his only hope of coming back into this game, I think. Of course, he is pushing back very well with Tech 3 land. But with so much more eco, Pachuriko should just be able to run him over at this point if it comes up to a straight up land war. A land party. That was terrible. That was horrendous, I apologize. Anyway, we've got this force here from Pachuriko, just chilling. Tech 3 land on the bottom as well. Could actually make a push here. The situation is not as perilous as it appears. Zock still actually does have the capability to push back. I think I might have exaggerated it too, but he's got the Tech 3. There's no Tech 3 in the area for Pachuriko that can deal with our concentrated force. Pachuriko at the moment just sitting back and making his economy. And it looks like an air attack from Zock. He wants to come in here. He's outside of his radar range now, so it would be very dangerous for him to try and do this. He knows where the ACU is thanks to this spy plane. And when are we going to see a snipe come up? Because Zock is still losing regardless of if he can push back. Bricks, of course, vastly superior to Loyalists. We are seeing some bricks on the field from Pachuriko. Still very intense here. But when you see stuff like this, Tech 2 Max is in the middle of the field, it's not usually a good sign for the other player. Actually, a nice placement of the Omni there between two T3P gens, so it takes quite a lot of the power cost off of that. And the Loyalists now pushing, but they're going to meet a Tech 3 production facility here. Loyalist fight is kicking off, yay! The deaths of these will actually stun all the units around them, so see how this progresses. Of course, with the production being right here. Actually, no, I'm not sure how to call this one, but the Loyalists are coming in from all different directions. Big clusterfuck here, you don't really know what's going on. But Pachuriko should come out on top here. Actually, a big stun effect there. Actually, Loyalists chasing each other down here as well. Gunships flying past each other as well. So, both players thinking similar thoughts, but this was a complete failed push from Zock, just feeds more reclaim to Pachuriko. I apologize for all the spazzing out with the zooming in and out. Actually, the economic gap is not as bad as it was hitherto, although it is still there. This is getting kind of boring. I want somebody to do something. Do something, you bastards. And looks like we're gonna see a big air attack. I think Pachuriko has the capability to just kill Zock with air, but he may not be willing to take the risk yet. No reason why he should, as he's winning the land war. But still, this is not the most stirring of games. And another loyalist will go down, I think. So decent push here from Zock again, but the air control from Pachuriko will make it difficult to push towards his base with any sort of success. So I guess we can just watch bricks against loyalists here. A brick at range. Big advantage over the loyalists. See all that damage going down, but he needs to back up a little bit. Won't be a big deal. Still kill all four, I expect. Especially with the stun. Really, units are everywhere, fighting on the hillsides, fighting in the plains, in the valleys. I'm running out of things to say if you haven't noticed. Nothing is really happening. The game hasn't really changed that much in the last 10 minutes or so, so I'm really kind of repeating myself. Pachico now recycling Tech 2 power, but ironically leaving Tech 1 power still alive. That is interesting. It's really not that interesting, but it is something to point out. And Tech 3 production now from Pachuriko in full flow. Lots of loyalists, lots of bricks. Pushing through the middle of the map once again. This one looks very difficult to stop actually, because the production from Zock is starting to become rather thin. And here we go. The units are pushing in. Zock actually might lose some units on a transport here, very unfortunate. Yep, there it goes. Actually, that was pretty funny. The plane got stunned by the death of the loyalist on his way down. Pachuriko really can build whatever he wants at this point. But it looks like he's just content with continuing to eco up. Just no end in sight. See if this bomber will finish off this Wagner. This really isn't very important, but we'll look at it anyway. Because why the hell not? Got these loyalists sinking around the side. They can potentially kill everything here. Nothing to stop them. And now the Tech 3 production from Zock under assault once again. This is like deja vu. He is being attacked directly in his base, and engineers following up to reclaim anything. This is like a pack of vultures just going behind and sucking up everything. Pachuriko just instantly gains back any losses that he has. Let's see, 157,000 reclaim. Zock less than 110,000. The gap is even wider. Now all this production going down. I don't think Zock even has the mass to fuel his production anymore, hence why these are paused. So the game really is whimpering out, I think. Just big spam of Tech 3 from Pachuriko coming in. Big drop from Zock. These have stealth on them. So where are they heading? This is an interesting idea from Zock. Shit. That was loud probably. But this is an interesting idea, because if the scouts from Pachuriko get pulled out of position and he can maneuver his way around, he will be able to drop 4 bricks into Pachuriko's territory. But in terms of actually changing the game it'll be difficult for Zock to do anything with those. He might be wishing he kept those bricks here, as the Loyalists will now make a direct push. We'll have to keep an eye on these drops here. They got stuck off the map a little bit there. The last thing he wants those for them to get spotted. Such a large amount of Tech 3 from Pachuriko. The Tech 2 power is absolutely doomed. And more waves coming in. This really should be the end of the match. We're going to see Tech 3 air fight. A Tech 3 air fight between Pachuriko and Zock here. It's going to be an easy win for Pachuriko there in Tech 3 air. So there will be no chance to defend against this land push with air from Zock. Drop is coming in though. He's making sure to zigzag so that Pachuriko can't spot him. So we will actually have to keep an eye on this, because if by some strange chance he can get in here, could actually do something, but the ACU for Pachuriko has been moved out as a precaution. So it's kind of meaningless now. Zock will lose his base. There's nothing he can really do. Power is the target. Good target. And yeah, this drop will be a success because Zock did plan that out very nicely. But as I said, in terms of ending the game, in terms of changing something here, very, very difficult. But there are going to be a few bricks here inside Pachuriko's base, so it is going to be a nuisance. It's a very nice drop actually from Zock. Very nicely worked with the stealth. And he managed to defend his base, but he lost all his power, down to just 4.4 thousand power. And he's just realized that the ACU is not there. So, no problem. Do you have cloak? He actually does not. And a control K from Zock. The WWPC title remains with Pachuriko. It's a 3-0 win. I was hoping it wouldn't be like this, but Zock missed out on his chance to win on his own map, and Pachuriko just picked the two large eco expansion maps, and he made Zock pay, and it's 3-0. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and if you want more Stream Commander content. I'll see you guys later.